I have once again found myself deep in the Molly Baz cookbook. I cannot stop rummaging through this book. You should really get it. I feel like baking today, and I'm going to make the grapefruit olive oil cake. Look how delicious that looks. If you have this book, it's on page 266, and you should follow along. I have got all of my goods ready to go. I am going to preheat my oven to 350 Fahrenheit, and we can get started. Starting with my dry ingredients, I've got flour, all-purpose, baking soda, baking powder, and some kosher salts. Combine this together and set it aside. Now for the wet ingredients, I'm going to start off with the grapefruit, and I'm going to zest 1.5 grapefruits into here. Got some granulated sugar. Going to work the zest into the sugar just for a few seconds or so. Goodness, I could just rub this all over my body and I'd be okay with it. Make sure you have clean hands. Eggs go in. Got my olive oil. Look at that. And some Greek yogurt. And we're gonna whisk until this is nice and smooth. Now for some juice. So I'm gonna cut this in half. Oof, look how pretty that is. I'm gonna eat you. I want to measure this out, but I want to catch the seeds. I feel as though I'm going to make a mess. Whatever. Let's squeeze the whole thing. I got my juice. I'm gonna put this into my wet mixture. I'm gonna whisk that in to put my dry into my wet ingredients. And I'm going to combine this until just so. I don't want to overmix this. Now let's put it in our little loaf pan. Got a loaf pan here. I think the recipe calls for a 9x5 loaf pan, and I sprayed it, and I've got some parchment paper that I'm just gonna drape down in there, make it a lot easier to take out later when it's done. Believe me, this is the key. And pour your batter right into your loaf pan. Can I just not make a mess? I'm gonna level this out a little bit. I'm gonna stick this into my preheated oven for, the recipe says 65 to 85 minutes. I'm gonna check it at an hour, see where we're at, and we just wanna cook it until a toothpick comes out clean. You guessed it, dishes. And there we have it. My cake was in there for about an hour and 15 minutes. Skewer has come out clean, and we are good to go. I'm gonna now let this chill out completely. I want it to cool. I'm gonna wait until it's a little more set up to lift it out of the pan and put it on a rack, but I'm just gonna leave it in here for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna lift it, put it on a rack, let it cool completely. This smells so good. It is still quite toasty, but this came out really nice. Nice shape. While this was baking, I made a glaze just with some powdered sugar, some of the extra grapefruit juice, a little bit of the zest, and then I just kind of made it the consistency I wanted. If you want it thicker, add a little more sugar. If you want it to thin out, just add a little more liquid, but just kind of do your thing until you have it the way you like it. I really like this consistency. It's like nice and thick, and it's gonna cover the loaf nicely. Kind of spread it, give a little help with my offset spatula. I I have some pistachios that I also kind of beat the life out of. Good times. And those are gonna go over the top of this as well. Because I am the way I am, I have to put a little bit of some flaky sea salt on the top here. I'm gonna grab my pistachios and just kind of get those on top there. Some of those smaller pieces. She's done. Look at how delicious and beautiful this looks. I cannot wait to rip into this thing. It's time. The inside of this cake is so beautiful. Look at how perfect that is. It is nice and dense. It smells so good. Oh my God. Well, I'm excited. Let's have a bite. You can smell the olive oil and this subtle grapefruit. This belongs in a bakery. Molly has done it again. This is so delicious. I could have even gone heavier with the grapefruit. It's very subtle. It's so moist from that oil. Oh my God. You need to make this. This is great as something to bring to someone else. Careful, because like they'll fall in love with you. If that's what you want. Get this book. Everything is delicious. Enjoy.